Hey Lizus, my name is Tala.
And I'm Ivana, and we're both youth volunteers with Wild Outside, which is part of the Canadian Wildlife Federation.
You're joining us today at Larch Sanctuary, which is located on Treaty 6 territory. Edmonton, otherwise referred to as Amidst Wet'suwet'Skaygan in Cree or Nahalan, is home to a wide variety of Indigenous groups, ranging from Métis to Iroquois, among many others.
In today's video, we will be discussing the importance of forests and the relationship to climate change.
As one of the largest land biomes in the world, boreal forests play a critical role in our environment.
A forest biome refers to a wooded area covered in a large number of trees ranging from coniferous to deciduous. About 80% of Canadian forests are boreal, stretching from the Alaskan border in Yukon all the way through Alberta and ending in Northern Newfoundland. 58% of Alberta is covered in boreal forest, bumping up next to Edmonton, which is also part of the Parkland Natural Region.
Forests play a role in the water cycle by regulating precipitation and evaporation through a process called transpiration. The roots of all forest plants retain moisture in the soil, which can transpirate through the tree's leaves to prevent droughts. Perhaps the most important role that forests play today is as a carbon sink, a stabilizing force in the world's climate. Trees are made mostly of glucose, an extensively chained sugar made through the process of photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is broken down to form glucose and oxygen. In other words, almost every atom of carbon in all trees was, at one point, carbon dioxide floating around in our atmosphere. This process of removing carbon dioxide from the air is referred to as carbon sequestration.
Why is it important? The accumulation of carbon in the atmosphere leads to the greenhouse effect, warming the Earth's surface. As a greenhouse gas, excess carbon dioxide results in extreme weather, food cycle disruptions, wildfires, flooding, and diseases. Carbon sequestration can keep much of this toxic gas locked away for years, ultimately resulting in less atmospheric carbon dioxide, easing the greenhouse effect. In other words, it stabilizes our climate. Today, forests all over the world are threatened by numerous challenges. One of the main destructive forces they face are the intensity and frequency of wildfires. Wildfires are unplanned fires that can be caused by lightning, droughts, and unauthorized human activity. Contrary to popular belief, not all forest fires are bad. In fact, naturally occurring wildfires are necessary. However counterintuitive as it seems, controlled forest fires are necessary for a healthy ecosystem and to help protect human-made infrastructure.
It is in the larger and more destructive wildfires the problem lies. As temperatures rise, the probability of wildfires increases, resulting in more wildfires annually. As more of these wildfires break out, more CO2 is released into the atmosphere. This triggers a positive feedback loop, which we will chat about more later. Forest fire season generally begins in April, peaking in July, and ending in October. During this 7-month period, an average of over 9,000 fires burn about 2.5 million hectares of land in Canada annually, almost half the size of Nova Scotia.
As the years progress, not only is more land being burned, but the duration and the sheer number of these fires is also increasing. These increasing trends are expected to continue throughout the next few years, resulting in smaller and fewer forests, more frequent evacuations, loss of wildlife, and hotter temperatures. Forest fires are both contributors to and effects of climate change. In order to understand the relationship, let's first define climate change. Climate refers to the average weather conditions within a large area over long periods of time. It typically takes climates hundreds of years to change. However, as of recently, they have been doing so at an unnaturally rapid pace. It's hypothesized that human activity, particularly greenhouse gas emissions, is responsible for this sudden change. Regular things like driving a car or heating a house release greenhouse gases, which are the cause of the greenhouse effect. In short, the greenhouse effect refers to the accumulation of greenhouse gases in the troposphere, which trap solar radiation in the Earth's atmosphere, warming Earth's surface. This is the cause of climate change.
Now, how does climate change relate to forests and wildfires? Well, carbon dioxide is the primary greenhouse gas emitted through human activity. To slow down the greenhouse effect, it would be ideal to get rid of as much carbon dioxide as we can, and that's exactly what forests do. Recall that the most important roles forests play is as carbon sinks. In order to live, trees store carbon dioxide. Through carbon sequestration, they're able to remove carbon from the atmosphere, regulating the climate by slowing down the greenhouse effect. Wildfires, on the other hand, do the opposite of carbon sequestration. As carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere, it accumulates in the troposphere, heating up the Earth's surface. As temperatures rise, so do the number and intensity of forest fires. Is this starting to sound familiar? Well, it should be, because this is the positive feedback loop we mentioned earlier. As more forests burn, more carbon dioxide is released, causing the greenhouse layer to thicken and more solar radiation to be trapped, heating up temperatures even more, triggering even more forest fires.
As the greenhouse effect and climate change progresses, the world's ecosystems, food chains, climate, and even our own way of life will all change. Rising sea levels, frequent flooding, hurricanes, droughts, and loss of habitats and species are all predicted to happen within the next few decades. But don't worry, there's still time for us to mitigate climate change, and there's lots of ways you and I can help right here in Edmonton. When it comes to climate change, humans may have caused the problem, but we're also the solution. Try making little changes in your everyday life to reduce your carbon footprint. There are lots of online quizzes to see just how big your carbon footprint really is.
An easy way to help the environment is by minimizing your carbon footprint. Try being energy efficient, limiting your meat consumption, saving water, producing less waste, and using public transportation. Making small changes in your everyday life can really make an impact, so don't be discouraged. As we already covered, more and more trees are being threatened by climate change. However, it doesn't have to be that way. An efficient way to help our super helpful trees is to plant more trees. That way, instead of it being stuck in our atmosphere, the excess carbon can get reabsorbed. Here, you can see my partners and I planting trees with our Wild Outside volunteer group at Cloverdale Hill. Roots for Trees and lots of other local organizations are always looking for help with their planting activities in the summer, so join in.
A way to help conserve trees while also having fun is by joining volunteer organizations. Tree Canada, for example, a nonprofit organization, has planted over 83 million trees across Canada. The Canadian Wildlife Federation, aka the CWF, works with over 200 nonprofits to conserve our forests and wildlife. If you're between the ages of 15 and 18 and want to learn more and help protect our forests and other ecosystems, check out Wild Outside at wildoutside.ca. Our forests are in trouble and they need our help. Big or small, every action you make counts. It's up to us to tackle climate change.
And together we can make a tremendous impact on the world around us.